Writing daily. Here it is again. My name is Devin, and every day we talk about something that affects the writers, whether we are putting our work out there, putting the final period on the last sentence in our novel, writing a letter to grandma. These are all parts of things that we do to have the writer's life. So anyway, welcome. For those who don't know, my name is Devin Galaudet. I am the editor-in-chief of In the Know Traveler, as well as the author of the forthcoming memoir, 10,000 Miles with My Dead Father's Ashes. Welcome, Bill, William. Good to see you here. And so if you have questions, always feel free to fill in that box. Robert, welcome. It's good to have you join us today. And so today we're going to be talking about when do you throw in the towel? I think sort of like a culturally speaking thing as an American, we're frequently told you have to do this thing to finish, otherwise you're a failure, you give up too easily, and we don't do that. We fight, fight, fight. April, good to see you. And so I think there's a certain amount of value to that. I think if we get into a habit of giving up easily, or we don't give it the college try, so to speak, then we can kind of feel bad about not getting our work out there. But I think to a larger extent, we also have to know when it's time to kind of like to give up, to give in, to allow the things that are not necessarily meant to be written by us to be written by us. So anyway, moving forward, let's say you're working on, matter of fact, let me start here. I remember writing this, a song a number of years ago. Oh, and by the way, if you like what I'm doing, make sure that you hit the like button, hit it ferociously. You know, these little things do help, and it's much appreciated. So I remember working on this song years ago, and in a different incarnation of my life, I was attempting to be a songwriter. I never got very far with it, but I did write some songs that I'm fairly proud of. But I remember writing this one song, and I did it and performed it, a draft of it in front of like a writer's symposium, and there were some very serious hardcore writers there, and I was very insecure about the song. And to be quite frank with you, I don't think it was very good. And after I finished performing it, I got a fair amount of feedback and comments that were nice. They were, you know, we're here to support you kind of comments. Like, we like you, and I don't know if we like your song. We got comments like that. And I was kind of in this place of, you know, I know that I can finish the song. I know that I can make the song as good as it can be. But I don't know whether or not that was the thing to do at the time. But as a matter of fact, a friend who just made a comment here, at one point, matter of fact, this is a second song. This is a separate song. There was, matter of fact, same songwriting symposium. I wrote a song with a buddy of mine, William, who just ironically happens to be here, called I've been drinking longer than you've been longerin', actually LONGER''N. I didn't even know you could do that, but we did. I've been drinking longerin' than you've been breaking my heart, a country tune. And I got up and sang my heart out at this event. And the person who was running it was actually a guy who discovered the Beach Boys and had a lot of street cred in the songwriting industry. He said, "Young man, if you had a half more idea, you'd have a half of an idea." Actually, he said an ounce. It was colossally insulting and embarrassing at the same time. But so it goes. This is part of the writer's artistic life. Not everybody's going to think everything we do is fabulous. But so how do you know when you're done? I think in terms of, let's say, writing a book, I think if you are so behind the idea of what it is that you're trying to accomplish, I think when you know that it's the right thing to do, like you have to tell this story. For like 10,000 Miles, it took me 7 years to write it. That's a long time. And so for me to write that and to work on it, you know, every day, every week, constantly making changes to it to make it the best story it could possibly be. And then here's the part. the part that I think is really the reason why you have to keep doing it. And by the way, welcome Bruce, welcome Michael, thank you for being here, welcome Fran. One of the things that I had to do is that I not only did I have to understand, okay, I'm going to be completing this thing, but I also knew that I had to give it legs. I had to be willing to put it out into the universe. I had to be willing to sort of like stand up on its behalf. So for my memoir, like I'm gonna market the heck out of it, because that's what you have to do. You have to do that. Like you have to be behind your story 100%, because in most cases, not everybody will. I mean, they may say, well, I'm 50% interested and I'll read it. Now I love it, but they won't know that until they read it. So that means I have to be sort of like 100% certain that this is the thing that has to be done. Like I have to write this story, I have to finish it, and I have to throw it out into the universe. And I think if you don't have those kinds of three things, if you are just sort of like, I'm finishing it for the sake of finishing it, you can do that. But I don't know if that's the focus. Like if you're just, my goal is to simply finish a book, that's fine. But then you're going into it with the idea that you're not then going to be pushing it out into the world. You're not pushing it to a place where other people around the world can then see it. And I think that's really your longer term goal. As writers, we want to be heard. We want the communication. We want the give and take of what it means to be connected to your readers. So I think if you don't have those things, I think it's important to kind of recognize that maybe this isn't the story that you want to go to the very end with. As always, if you like what I'm doing, please hit the like button. This is probably going to be a short one today, but I think what it's more importantly is that sometimes when you know that this isn't, like you've written some pages, you know that this isn't the thing for you, you know that this isn't the story that is so compelling that will carry you through the hard points. And when I say that, I'm talking about long form writing, like books and novels and memoirs, nonfiction works, book feature length, shall we say. If you are not going that direction, then you have to question, why are you going there at all? I think it's a tricky kind of thing. Anyway, welcome Dro, Rosalie, and Jason. Thank you for all being here. And so if you're writing, I absolutely applaud you going after it. And I think you should. If you start really working on something, I think you have to come up with a really good reason not to go to the very end with it. But if one of those reasons are, you know what, I feel like it's just dying on the vine and I'm not going to do it and I'm not going to support it. If you're not going to support and back your own work, probably nobody else will, right? So anyway, those are my 2 cents for today on writing and getting out of it. And by the way, sometimes people need sort of like, yeah, no, you can stop writing that story or that song or whatever project you're working on if that's the case. You have my permission. So anyway, that's what I've got for today. Joseph, welcome. And again, I'm everywhere now. So you can follow me on YouTube and iTunes and Stitcher, and I think we're on Spotify now. And so a whole slew of places. Always, whether you see me live or whether you are finding me on one of the variety of places that I'm on, even Facebook, feel free to like me and ask questions. If you have a writerly question, I answer everything, and I love to hear from you because it helps me know whether or not I'm on the right track in being service to the writers community at large. Anyway, that's what I've got for today. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will be back here again tomorrow for more Writing Daily. Thanks.